3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Councilman Britt Moore calling to order our Wednesday, June 18th meeting of our Finance Committee. Here in Council Chambers are Councilwoman Peters, Councilman Holmes, and Councilman Andrews. So our full board is here. We'll begin with item 2025-236. First several items, we'll be hearing from Kevin Rogers, our Fleet Director.
Thank you very much. Several departments are currently using similar vehicles that need replacement based on mileage and condition. The new Ford Explorers, or like other vehicles in the city, will meet their needs. The price of $39,410.63 is for the vehicle and equipment package. Total cost for 6 is $236,436.78. This pricing is based on the North Carolina State Contract number STC 2510A. Funds are available in the 25-26 budget. Fleet Services recommends purchasing the vehicles from Deacon Jones Ford in the amount of $236,463.78.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Just want to go over real quick, so for anybody that might be listening, the way that we do this. There are metrics and parameters by which you're
Yes.
judging our fleet, and one of them is our maintenance, correct?
Correct, yes.
And repairs and how
Yes.
much we're spending in that area. Mileage-wise, where do we usually, is there a ticker mark on your mileage piece that it'll, once it clips 150, 110 for trade-in resale? Where is that parameter?
Well, it's 10 years, 100,000 miles, but generally, even at that point, it can roll down to a backup position. We have, vehicles that may even go longer than that. So that's just kind of a base setting for the replacement cycle.
Right. There's like standard metrics you hit,
Yes.
but so you don't keep a vehicle that may be still running good at 175,000?
No.
You don't wait to, have you ever thought of, does it make any sense on some of the fleet, if it's running and the maintenance is fairly good, to keep that one running and not replace as many at one time? I know every little bit of savings is add up to a bigger savings. Am I making any sense?
It
in
is,
that
you are, yes.
calculation?
And we look at the maintenance costs overall, everything, and then also too, at the longevity of the fleet, because we look at it, like right now, we're looking at a 7 to 10 year projection for the entire fleet. So we're looking at overall costs throughout, we have basically 1,200, without 1,000 to 1,200 vehicles as far as vehicles and equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So we're looking at everything. So in the total grand scheme of things, when you're looking at that total base, we do have some vehicles right now that are in that mileage range. Mm-hmm. And of course, we look at that cost, the maintenance cost, very closely. Mm-hmm. And we come to a point to where, and our guys know, if you have a vehicle that's already met those criteria and it needs a major cost, we look at it very closely before we do that repair cost.
And Kevin, that also affects the potential recoup what you did on
Yes.
the sale as well. So the
Certainly
longer
does.
it runs, the less you're going to get.
Yes,
the
certainly.
less you're going to get back of it in return. So
Yes.
Yeah.
So I get it's a fine line to walk,
It is.
but
Yeah.
it's
And we're also one of the top in the state as far as our gov deal sales, as far as our surplus sales too. So we're very good as far as our return on investment for end sales too. So.
Very good. Thank you for that discussion. Anything else?
Just a quick question about how long are we still backlogged on vehicles? I've heard that you order one, it takes a long time to get them.
Yes,
Okay.
we are. It depends on some, like we have some, like we just spoke to a vendor. We're looking at still on some, we're still a year and a half. But there's some that are actually getting better. We actually are looking at some of our I call it a mini sewer truck.
Yeah.
That's going to be less than a year, which I was really surprised. Because before we were looking at some of our larger sewer trucks that were taking up to 3 years. So it's getting better, but it's still some time though.
any consideration to the tariff costs? Is it kind of buy now to lock in the lower price before maybe potential tariff costs go up?
Yeah, we were able to this year. We actually were able to beat a lot of the pricing, which we had some pretty substantial savings this year. So.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, if there's no other discussion, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-236.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. All right, Kevin, at this rate, we ain't gonna break no records.
Sorry.
Next item is 2025-239.
All right. Police Department is currently using also similar vehicles need replacing based on mileage, condition, and overall condition. The new Ford Interceptors are like other vehicles in the city and will also meet their needs. The price of $40,962.36 is for the vehicle and equipment package. Total cost for 10 is $409,623.60. Estimated delivery is less than 6 months. Funds are available in the 25-26 budget, and these also do fall under the NC State contract STC 2510A. Fleet Services Department recommends purchasing these vehicles from Deacon Jones Ford in the amount of $409,623.60.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-239.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2025-238.
Okay. And also, again, there's several departments in the city are currently using similar trucks that are also needing replacement based on mileage and condition. These trucks, there's Chevrolet 1,500 trucks will meet the needs of the city staff. The price of $40,958.15 is for the vehicle and equipment package. The cost for 6 is $245,748.90. Estimated delivery is less than 6 months. Funds are available in the 25-26 budget. Fleet Services Department recommends purchasing these trucks from Capital Chevrolet in the amount of $245,748.90. And again, this is also under the state contract number 2510A.
Kevin, can you give me some insight why we are using different makes? Like, because we got Chevrolet here and Ford on the other. Is that a reason for that, or are we just?
Well, on this particular vehicle, we actually got a pretty substantial savings with this. We actually purchased this on last year's contract pricing. So we had actually, it was close, a little over $2,000 savings
Yeah.
compared to this current year's pricing.
Yeah.
And with this vehicle, the resale value's been pretty substantial over the Fords.
Well, the reason I was asking is I'm looking at, is it possible if we went with a unified make on our vehicles, could we leverage that for bigger savings?
Well, with the pricing structures that we have now, we have a very aggressive pricing now.
Okay.
It's pretty much across the board as far as with Ford and Chevrolet.
Okay.
We get really aggressive pricing now.
Yeah.
With both, and so we have a pretty good mix between Ford and Chevrolet. We also, of course, we have some other products too. Sorry, but we have a pretty good mix right now. We don't have it, of course, with our larger vehicles. We have, Freightliner International, other things too. So I think we have a pretty good mix right now. And but again, with the Chevrolet trucks, the resale value is pretty strong on those. And then with the Ford, we have a pretty good feeling with the Interceptors as far as with law enforcement. And Chevrolet doesn't really offer a good choice as far as patrol,
Yeah,
because
gotcha.
they need that size vehicle as far as
Gotcha.
patrol. So.
Yeah.
All right. Nothing else? I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-238.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Councilman Holmes, are you suggesting we do like Ford versus Ferrari?
I mean, only if council gets a Ferrari.
Next item is 2025-237.
All right. The electric and parks departments are currently utilizing 3/4 ton trucks that need to be replaced, again, based on age, condition, and mileage. Capital Chevrolet has the Chevrolet 2500 that will continue to meet their needs. Price of $45,530.20 is for the truck and equipment package. Total cost for 2 is $91,060.40. Delivery is estimated to be less than 6 months. Funds are available in the 25-26 budget. Fleet Services Department recommends purchasing the 2 trucks from Capital Chevrolet. Recommendations also include declaring the current trucks as surplus and disposing through the online auction process. And again, these are also falling through the state contract 2510A.
If there's no questions on this item, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-237.
Second?
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Kevin, before you leave, I think it might be interesting, or at least to me, if you could give us an update, whether it be like in the last 3 months or the last year, what our total was off of the online auction.
Okay. Yeah, I usually provide that, and I can do it now, though. That's no problem at all. Okay. You do it now? Okay, as far as year-to-date, I think this current year, I think we were like 980,000 as far as our gov deal sales. But I'll have the exact amount here,
Yeah.
sending a report to you soon, so.
Okay. I'd be interested in knowing the types of vehicles it was.
Oh, yeah, I'll have all that for you.
Great.
In the official report, so.
Thank you. Next, we're going to hear from Customer Service Director Jeremy Coble, and it's item 2025-240.
Good afternoon. This agenda item is for 1-inch, 1.5-inch, and 2-inch water meters to support our ongoing maintenance and modernization of our city's water infrastructure. For reference, these meters are generally used at our commercial and industrial sites. These will replace the older meters that meet our change-out program criteria. They have high accuracy and compatibility with our current meter reading process and our AMI process that we're currently implementing. Funding is available in the customer service budget. Staff recommends the approval of water meters from Badger Meter Incorporated for $122,267.50.
Any comments?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-240.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, Jeremy. Next item is 2025-241, and we're here from Transportation Director Greg Venable.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This is a consideration of the second amendment to a task order with Dewberry Engineers for additional work that's associated with revisions to our South Main Street Market District project, needed to rebid that project. It was originally bid in January of this year. We received one bid. We decided to extend the time frame of the bid and for an additional 2 weeks. We received no additional bids after that 2-week period, so we opened the bid at that time. City staff reviewed the bid and determined that it was too high for the project. The decision was made to reduce the project limits and modify the project timeframe and then rebid the project to see if we get a better price. Obviously, this amendment is for the additional services needed for that associated with the plan set and the bid documentation. Dewberry will provide these services for a lump sum fee of $56,600, and funds are available in the current budget. I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Greg?
No questions, just a comment. My apologies. Scope of services, page 2, there's an inconsistent spelling of Russell. Sometimes it's 1 L, sometimes it's 2.
Thank you. We'll make that change.
Thank you.
There's no other comments. I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-241.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Thank
Thank you.
Sure.
Next, we're going to hear from Transit Manager Angela Wines on item 2025-242.
Good afternoon.
Aye.
We are here for our annual agreement with NCDOT for the funding they provide for our furniture market transportation services. The state provides $1.7 million, $850,000 for each market. And this is an agreement authorizing the city to enter into that agreement and for appropriate city officials to execute.
This is one we see each year. We're certainly thankful for. Anybody got any comments or questions here?
Nope.
Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-242.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, ma'am. Next item is, next couple of items. We'll hear from Electric Utilities Director Tyler Barrier, item 2025-243.
Good afternoon. The electric utility is requesting to execute a contract to purchase some steel transmission poles. The utility regularly performs grid maintenance where we're having a vendor come in the next fiscal year and do structural pole testing on our transmission loop. And this is just us buying some of our regularly used sizes in anticipation for having some poles we need to change out on that loop. 20 total poles be purchased under this contract. And so staff is recommending that council approve so that we can execute a contract for $205,354.60.
Comments or questions? Hearing none, make a motion to approve item 2025-243. Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2025-246.
So this item is for a EECBG grant, which stands for Energy Efficiency and Conservation Block Grant. Last year, we applied for a grant through the Department of Energy. One of the project scopes that was eligible for the project was LED street lighting. We're going to do those upgrades anyway, so we thought we'd utilize these funds as kind of a shot in the arm for our program. For the sum of $163,296, we can purchase around 700 street lights to upgrade to LED, and then after those are installed and we mark them on our tablet and send all the required information to the Department of Energy, we should receive reimbursement for these funds.
Very good. If there's no comments on this, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-246.
Second.
There's a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is item 2025-247. That doesn't look like Adam to me.
That's because,
No. I'm,
It's 246. Did you skip 246?
no.
Good afternoon, council
Tyler was
members.
246.
Okay. All right.
Oh, we're at item 2025-247. Adam Ward.
Yep. Good afternoon, council members. The agenda item before you is a one-year renewal with Cornerstone On Demand for SumTotal, which is the city's current time and attendance system. The renewal is a prudent action, as staff are currently in the process of consolidating multiple information systems into a single enterprise resource planning platform called Workday. We're tentatively set to go live with Workday in September 2025. Project to migrate to Workday is healthy. However, there is the potential for delays prior to go live. The renewal ensures business continuity should we need to stay on the current ERP platform for a period of time. And also it provides staff time to validate all data that's being migrated from SumTotal to Workday for archival purposes. The renewal amount is $140,630, which is unchanged from the previous contract. Funds are available in fiscal year 25-26 budget. City staff recommends that council renew this contract as a sole source item, and that city staff be allowed to execute all necessary documents. Be happy to address any questions.
Yeah, Councilman Andrew, question. So we optimistically believe that the new system will come on in September. We're renewing this for a year. Is there any way to recapture the 9 months or so of overlap?
Well, it's true that, everything is, all indicators. Matter of fact, we had our executive steering committee meeting today. Our integrator, AVAP, had no outright concerns. The project status is green. Ultimately, even if we go live on the new ERP system, there's going to be that additional time needed for data extraction from SumTotal, the historical data, to pull over into a product called Workday Prism. So that particular product will store all data that was housed in SumTotal back a period of time in the data validation process. To ensure that that data that was extracted is accurate will take a period of time.
Okay.
How long were we with SumTotal?
We've been with SumTotal for over a decade, so long in fact that the previous company name was CyberShift.
And our reason for moving, better technology from Workday, better pricing, better, I mean, you see them all the time on TV, so they're a big name.
Yeah, they have, been in the press quite a bit recently. Overall, it aligns with the council's strategic initiative for efficiencies in government. So ultimately, what our goal is to take all of these disparate systems, like SumTotal, Performance Pro, Infor, Lawson, and collapse them into one information system to house it all.
Okay, anything else? Efficiency is a good thing. I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-247.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next, we're going to item 2025-248, and that looks more like Melinda King to me.
I was just so excited to get up here. And this is for the stormwater maintenance contract that we do each year. We bid the project. We did have 3 bidders. PDC Corporate was the lowest bidder on the project at $537,819. This is just to supplement our stormwater crews and provide additional assistance on larger projects that need to be completed throughout the year. And so we are recommending that council approve this. It is set aside in the 2025-2026 budget, and so we are asking for approval at $537,819.
Comments, questions? I will make a motion to approve item 2025-248.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you, ma'am. Here he comes. Next, we'll hear from Public Service Director Robbie Stone on the next page, it looks like. Item 2025-249.
Thank you. So this first item here is we're requesting to approve a task order with Stantec Consulting for the contract administration and resident project engineer for an upcoming Whites Mill lift station project. This project is going to consist of upgrading the Whites Mill lift station. It's currently at about 310 gallons per minute, but we're increasing that to 1,000 gallons per minute so we can increase the volume and capacity there. This project also encompasses some new force main installed, some directional boring in some areas there, and some valves and other things accompanied with this project. So this will be for the contract administration and on-site resident project engineer representative. There are funds in our current budget for this, and we're recommending to approve this with Stantec Consulting Services in the amount of $523,050.
Is the increase in volume a direct correlation in the growth of the
Yes,
area
sir.
and anticipated future growth of that area?
Yes, sir. We've looked out at that 2045 and 2050 growth and tried to incorporate that.
Gotcha. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-249.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Thank you on that one. Next is 2025-250.
So this one goes along with the previous one. This is to award Yates Construction Company for the actual construction of the Whites Mill lift station project. So same characteristics there of the project. There were 4 contractors that submitted bids on this. Yates Construction was the lowest responsive bidder. Funds are available in our current budget for this, and we're recommending awarding this to Yates Construction Company in the amount of $8,809,999.73.
What's the time frame on a project of this size?
I believe this one was 18 months.
If there's no other comments or questions, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-250. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2025-251.
So this is similar to the stormwater maintenance project that Melinda just shared with you, but this is for water and sewer mains. So to help supplement our water and sewer mains division, as we have various water main breaks or sewer utility repair needs, this was a project that was bid out to supplement those needs. We did bid this out. We had to rebid because of a lack of sufficient bidders. Mainlining America LLC was the lowest responsive bidder. We do anticipate to issue a notice to proceed July 1 as our current contract ends on June 30. Funds are available in the approved 25-26 budget, and we are recommending approving this contract to Mainlining America in the amount of $2,614,625.
You stated it had to be resent out again on bid. Is Mainlining America someone we've worked with before?
We have, we checked on several references, and they have worked here, but I believe it's been several years in the past, so it's nobody we've worked with recently.
Okay.
But the references all came back well.
What in the environment out there do you think caused the first bid to not get the sufficient bids back? Just,
It just seems like
Demand,
everybody's so
supply,
busy.
demand?
Yes. Yes.
okay. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-251.
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. I just knew I hadn't heard that name, or it didn't ring a bell. Next item is 2025-254.
So this is the contract with PC Construction Company for the rehabilitation of the filters 1 through 4 at our Ward Water Treatment Plant. This plant was brought into operation in the early 80s. These filters have just continued to experience various challenges. Once we did a full depth inspection on those, it was deemed that these filters needed a full rehab and overhaul. In conjunction with that, we're also looking at changing out some valves, some actuators. The pipe gallery that this ties to is in need of painting and some other miscellaneous repairs too. So several different, a few other miscellaneous items in there. We did have to rebid this project also, and because there was an insufficient number of bids. PC Construction was the only bidder on this project. We did meet up with them afterwards, after the bids were open, and went through some value engineering process with them, and we're able to lower that amount by about $188,000. Funds are available in our current budget for this, and we're recommending awarding this project to PC Construction in the amount of $8,094,300.
Okay, you defined the rehabilitation, and there's several parts within the filters that the whole operation would have to be redone. Is replacement of filters an inaccurate statement as well?
Yes, so it's full replacement of those filters,
So
of
it's not-
the internals of the filters. Now, the
So
structural
it's more of a
component,
replacement than a rehabilitation?
the structural component will remain, so
Right.
the concrete tanks,
Okay.
so to say, but the internal components will be replaced.
Okay. If there's no further comments, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-254.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2025-261.
I'm going to give you a new face for this one, if you don't mind.
Thank you and welcome. Thank you for welcoming back. So this is for a change order to the contract that we entered into with Sharp Brothers for our 2025 resurfacing project. We were able to find some additional funding as we neared the end of the fiscal year in our operating budget. And so we are asking for a change order in the amount of $461,111 to add additional roads to this project and increase our resurfacing contract with Sharp Brothers. So the total amount would be $3,977,687. But if you all are looking at the same thing I am, before Councilman Andrews asks, the C at the beginning is the wrong font. There's a period instead of a comma at ink, and I found in there, it says 2025, 2025. It's the 2024, 2025 budget.
I appreciate it.
He was
Would you
sweating.
like-
I was looking over it while I was sitting there, so.
Would you like them to correct it and bring it back next meeting?
Okay, all right.
Melinda, do we yet know what additional roads or what additional areas that we'll be able to get because of this?
We have identified a series of roads. Sometimes we underrun on the contract in general, and so we kind of have it open there for some other roads that we hope we'll be able to add in, but we're not sure we'll be able to get everything in. So, since it depends on asphalt prices and things,
Sure.
fluctuations occur, so.
I mean, just saying.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-261.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes. Before we move on, Robbie, Melinda, I want to ask a question on all of these that you've brought to us. Is there going to be any road detours or lane stoppages or anything that has to be in place for any of these projects?
For the resurfacing projects?
But no, I'm sure about the resurfacing, but more along the construction of the water issues and.
The White's Mill project, there is some force main that's going to be placed out in the roadway, but the road will still be open. There'll be some cones and barrels just to try to shift some traffic over, because that road section where they're placing is extra wide, so I think they'll still be able to maintain 2 lanes of traffic. Areas where there will be a closure, if there is a closure and it's known in advance, then we would try to canvass that neighborhood and maybe put up some signs in advance to let folks know there's going to be a closure.
Okay. Well, I know it's very busy out that way, as it is in a
Yes.
lot of places in town, so the
Yes,
more
sir.
we could communicate that, would be good, especially if it's going to be for a duration of time.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Thank you.
I'll just add, if you aren't aware, when we do the resurfacing, we do put door hangers out to everybody that's impacted to let them know that it's occurring in the next couple weeks. Sorry. To give them a time frame, especially for cars that are parked on the street, so that people make sure they readjust their vehicles appropriately during construction, so.
Okay, very good. Thank you both. Next item is 2025-253. Hear from Lee Tillery, our Parks and Rec Director.
Good afternoon. Good to see
Hello.
everyone. Before you is an agenda item for the purchase of some new accessible playground equipment located at the High Point Athletic Complex right near the Miracle League, if you guys are familiar with that. This is one of 2 fully accessible playground structures that we have in our department. And when I say that, I mean that we have the port in place, the surfacing that any mobile device can roll on. We also have the same type of surfacing at Washington Terrace Playground. A couple years ago, the Quanties helped us out and we did a project there. This playground gets a ton of use, and a lot of use adds up to a lot of maintenance over the years. This playground's a little over 15 years old. So this was high on our priority list as far as replacing. It's a very important playground too, as again, it serves so many people in so many different ways. So we're looking to replace this playground. We've identified some money, some additional revenues in this year's budget, and you have an accompanying budget ordinance amendment in your packet. So we'd like to utilize those funds. And working with our Aspire division, we've identified a playground and a structure and some amenities that we'd like to go ahead and purchase, have those ready to hopefully replace sometime in the fall, a little bit later in the fall of this coming year, but go ahead and get that playground equipment ordered. So our recommendation is to purchase that equipment. It's Burke equipment. We do have some other playground structures manufactured by Burke, but purchase that from Bars Recreation out of Pittsburgh, North Carolina, in the amount of $197,874.74. Happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Any questions? For those that are familiar, that is a wonderful park that we have. It serves a great need and has for a long time. It was thought of and pushed for a lot of years, and it's a great asset. So I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-253.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. And kudos on finding the equipment from North Carolina.
Thank you.
Exceptional.
Yeah.
Next item, 2025-256.
Okay, this is, item before you is our guaranteed maximum price or our construction contract for the new Center for Active Adults. As you guys know, this was one of 2 Parks and Recreation projects from the general obligation bonds that were voted on and approved in 2019. The first one we did was City Lake Park, and this is obviously the second one. We started planning for this, late in 2023 with a pre-planning phase, and then we moved into the design phase in early 2024. We went through the CMAR process, the construction manager at risk process, the selection process, and brought on Frank L. Bloom last year. I think it was in April that we brought him on. And they've been part of the design team since about the second phase of our design process. So we finished design earlier in the year, and that gave Bloom the go-ahead to move forward with working on their pricing. So what you'll see in there is their not to exceed base price to construct, and it also includes an escalation contingency of 1.5%. At this time, there's no owner contingency in that particular contract on our end. Their fee is about, it is not about, is 3% for the project, which we felt like was fair. The projection for hub participation in that project is right at 27%, which we felt to be pretty good. And I think that goes a long way with what we're doing here internally, but also Bloom's effort to bid that project out and make so many people aware of that project on the subcontract basis. They did open those bids on May 29th, and we feel they wanted to come today, or we wanted to bring that today in case any of those prices may go up. We don't want them to go up, so we wanted to bring that before you guys today. They're expecting construction to take 16 months. If we break ground in August, September of this year, we're looking at completion somewhere late in 2026. So that's a little bit about that contract. Happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Like it.
Anybody else got a comment or a question? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-256.
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee. Next item is 2025-257. Financial Services Director Bobby Fitzjohn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the Finance Committee. This is an item we bring you every year. It's the order to collect for Forsyth County. It authorizes actually the new tax collector to collect property taxes on our behalf in Forsyth County. We will reach out to the new collector and see if we could do a multi-year agreement like we have with other counties. So we don't bring this to you every year, but same thing you all have seen in years past. Happy to answer any questions, though.
There are no questions on this item. I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-257. There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2025-258.
This is an item to appropriate additional occupancy tax and print shop revenue in this year's fiscal budget. As you all know, occupancy taxes or hotel motel taxes are assessed by the city and passed through to Visit High Point and the Market Authority. Estimated collections through June will exceed the budget available through June, so this just allows us to complete the June payment that we'll make as part of this year's budget. On the other side, we began a partnership with Rico back in 2024 to operate a print shop and mailroom. That's gone well as a user. I'll just say they've been really helpful. It's definitely made some more efficient processes on printing and mailing, and so I definitely appreciate that partnership. It's accounted for as an internal service, which means user fees charged to departments fund the operation. This is only the first full year, so we need to adjust the budget so that we can continue to pay out the rest of June's invoices on that. And we will continue to adjust those estimates in future years. I do want to point out this is funded by departmental charges, so this does not increase the departmental budget that used the services, only increases the budget and the fund that we account for this operation.
Any comments on this item? I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-258.
I'll second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion passes. Next item is 2025-259.
As we discussed in recent meetings, the city issued its 2025 water and sewer revenue bonds in early June, immediately after LGC approval. In total, we issued a little more than $39 million, which will fund about $38.5 million in capital improvements for the water and sewer system. Our excellent credit rating for the city was affirmed during this process. That began back in January, so it's a very long process. The city comes under a lot of scrutiny, a lot of departments are involved, and credit rating still affirmed and stable outlook on all three agencies. The all-in TIC was approximately 4.54%. That just means essentially the interest rate was around 4.54% for a 25-year term. Happy to answer any questions. This just basically is a cleanup item to appropriate the bond proceeds, which were not already appropriated.
Any comments or questions on this item? Hearing none, I make a motion to approve item 2025-259. Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next item, 2025-260.
This is a budget ordinance amendment that will allow us to account for existing capital project appropriations that exist in operating funds and move those to their capital project funds. So just to take a step back, every enterprise fund, whether it's electric, water, sewer, stormwater, they have an operating fund, which is where folks are paid out of and their main operations are done. And then you have a capital fund where long-term capital projects are accounted for. Over time, budget and finance staff have moved new projects into the capital project funds. This just allows us to clean up and get rid of some of those old projects that, such as like the AMI project, which is, multi-year, several multi-years, and move that into the capital project fund so it can be accounted for there. It's a good practice. It allows us to keep our operating cash in one place and our capital cash somewhere else, helps us out with capital planning to make sure we're not over committing ourselves.
I'll make a motion to approve item 2025-260.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. We've come to the end of our allotted agenda. Is there anything members have to share before we close out?
Just happy and safe Juneteenth.
All right, guys, then we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.
With us.